Hi, I'm Becky with Discovery Education, and did you know that just by using this reusable plastic water bottle, I can reduce my carbon footprint? I've also learned to always turn off lights when I leave the room, and I never leave the water running when I brush my teeth anymore. A lot of you have already analyzed your carbon footprints in preparation for this virtual field trip, and thank you to everyone who took part in that activity, including Mrs. Smith's community-based vocational instructional program in Peachtree City, Georgia, Ms. Heisey's class, South Lebanon Elementary in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, Ms. Crawford's, Mr. Lengil's, and Ms. Ibach's classes in Zephyr Elementary School, Whitehall, Pennsylvania. And you guys have submitted lots of great ideas for ways to reduce your impact on the earth. And some of those examples include walking home from the bus stop, making sure buses are filled all the way, don't let buses idle when students are loading, compost your waste, unplug electronics when not in use, turn off lights, and recycle. Well, guess what? Egg farmers all across America have also been analyzing their footprints and finding ways to reduce their impact. And today we're here at Anthony Wayne High School in Ohio, which is the school that every member of the Hertzfeld family has attended, and we're going to find out how they're reducing that impact. Also, a lot of you have already submitted some great questions for the Hertzfelds, but we want to encourage you to keep on submitting questions throughout the program and also send us your pictures to the hashtag EggFarmVFT. You can also submit questions in the text box below this video window. But first, let's hear from Tom Hertzfeld about how advancements in nutrition and many other efficiencies have helped reduce their environmental footprint in one key area of their egg farm operation, the feed.
On our farm, feed is one of the most important parts of our operation. We work with nutritionists. We work with 10 different rations, and depending on what age the bird is, as it's moving along, we change that ration to account for the age of the chicken that we're working with. We use our own corn out of our own fields, as much of it as we can, and any of the corn that we don't grow ourselves, we buy from local producers. We put soybean meal in, calcium, corn, and then we put a vitamin premix in also. That all is determined by the age of the bird. The younger birds, we give a little bit more protein. The older birds, we put a little bit more calcium in to help for bone structure and also for the shell development of the egg. Feed is very important to us with the sustainability of our company. When our tractors go into the fields, we run GPS units so we make as few passes as possible over that piece of ground. We utilize all the technologies today so that the footprint that Hertzfeld Poultry Farms leaves when we're in the fields is as light as we can possibly make. So when we operate our trucks, we try to send them out with feed on them to deliver and then bring feed back to our feed mill so that our trucks are utilizing the mileage that they're running with the least fuel that they possibly can. Our egg business, we utilize the most advanced technologies available to us. We utilize all the expertise available to us with county extensions, state agencies that help determine how and when to farm your ground. And then local farmers, we utilize them as a resource too. With the advancements that have been made in genetics and technology and the way that we feed our hens today, we are able to use 50% less feed to get the same amount of eggs or more eggs than we were from the 1960s. My grandfather started the business. Our goal is to make it to the 4th, 5th, and 6th generations. We're fortunate we now have our 4th generation coming into the business. Being as sustainable as possible will help ensure that our 4th, 5th, and 6th generations will be able to come into the company.
And welcome back. Well, it sounds like there have been a lot of improvements in egg farming today, so let's welcome Tom and Jordan Hertzfeld of Hertzfeld Poultry Farms to learn more. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us
You're
today and letting us take a peek inside your operation. So you guys both went to school at Anthony Wayne here, is that right?
That's right,
Yep, and I was a member of the FFA here, and being in that club, it just kind of cemented my love for agriculture, and I continued through with it.
Yeah.
Both my brother and sister went here as well, and my cousins, so it's great to be back.
Yeah, it's just another family tradition from the Hertzfeld farm.
Right.
So I shared with the students earlier that I've been taking some steps in my personal life to try and reduce my environmental footprint, stuff like a reusable water bottle, turning off the lights. but I know egg farmers are taking steps to reduce their carbon footprints as well. And so an environmental footprint, just to clarify, is the amount of land and water required to produce what we consume and to absorb the waste we generate. And it's usually measured by assessing the natural resources and energy our activities consume against the amount of available natural resources like land and water. So Tom, for egg farmers, many businesses, egg farmers as well, are reviewing their operations to find ways to lighten their environmental impact. Can you tell us why you're doing that?
Well, on our farm and throughout agriculture, the egg industry, we're a multi-generational egg company. We've got my son in it, I've got my cousin's sons coming through it, and we're doing everything we can to protect the environment by redoing our water, the soil, anything that we can to reduce the impact on the environment to save for the future generations.
Yes, you want to make sure that there's still an egg farm in the future. So that's, really impressive, and that's a great way to be thinking as you move forward. So we do have some questions from students around the country. So we're going to start with a question from Miss Kalweis's class from Garden Grove, California. And they ask us, what are some of the things you're doing to help reduce your carbon footprint?
We're recycling our water, as I just stated, GPS with all of our tractors. We're lightening the load of the power coming into our facilities by light and the electricity and monitoring the way we're running our operation.
All right, so you're looking at a lot of different facets there. So you mentioned that nutrition advancements have resulted in hens requiring less daily food, and you're getting better feed conversion rates, and that's helped you use less resources. Can you explain that a little more?
Well, yeah, we constantly work with nutritionists to make sure our feed is balanced with the best nutrition as possible. So when that hen takes a peck of that feed, they get the most nutrition, the best balance of nutrition as possible. So we use less energy, we use less crops, and we produce the same amount of eggs.
Right, so the hens need less food because the food is better than what it used to be.
That's correct.
Oh, that's great. So you also mentioned GPS tractors just now. How does that help the environment?
Well, the GPS tractors help us monitor the passes that we make over the field at any given time. It tells us where we've been and how to be there to reduce the load on that field. Over the last 50 years, the egg industry has lowered its greenhouse emissions by 71%.
Oh my gosh, wow, that's amazing. So the GPS tractors help you do that by making sure you know where the tractors are going, where exactly they need to be, so you don't make extra trips.
That's correct.
All right, so that's a great use of technology. But I understand you're also using some other farming methods.
Yeah, we do, and a lot of those have been around for many, many years. It's crop rotation. We primarily farm with a lot of corn, but we use beans and wheat to help replenish the soil so that it gets a natural break. And then we'll use filter strips also around lakes and rivers and creeks.
All right, so you've got your thousands and thousands of years old technology like crop rotation, and then we've got the really modern stuff like GPS, so you're really meshing the old and the new. So I do want to encourage everyone to keep tweeting any questions and pictures to the hashtag EggFarmVFT, but right now we do have some more questions from students. So Ms. Hobbs' Career Exploration class in Riverbend Middle High School in Goldsboro, North Carolina want to know, how many hens do you have on your farm versus how many eggs do you produce?
Well, we have 1.3 million hens on our farm.
1.3 million hens.
And we produce around 90,000 dozen eggs a day.
That's incredible.
So about 1 million eggs a day.
90,000 times 12 is about a million times. That's an incredible number of eggs all in one day. And you're trying to reduce your impact all while you do all that. That's amazing. So Miss Eibach's class in Whitehall, Pennsylvania wants to know, is there a ratio of feed consumed to eggs produced?
There is, and it takes 3 pounds of feed to produce 1 dozen eggs. And just for a general idea of what a chicken produces through the year, each white leghorn laying hen is what the industry uses, will produce 265 to 285 eggs per year.
Yeah, so they're keeping real busy, and you got to get that high quality feed in there to make sure they can produce all those eggs. That's amazing. So who does collect all these eggs?
Well, our eggs are actually collected on a belt system. Okay. So once the hen lays the egg, it rolls down onto a belt. Then it rolls to a conveyor that will run that belt all the way up to our processing plant. And every one of those eggs is counted, each and every single one, and then it's sent to a computer system where it's sent up to our offices, so we know the exact amount of eggs that are collected each day.
So you can really keep track of that, so it's not just an estimate, you know exactly, all those thousands of dozens that are going out every single day. So another student wants to know, is there a certain time that is best to retrieve an egg from the barn?
Well, hens usually lay their eggs usually around from 7 to 11 in the morning.
Okay.
But we are constantly collecting. So we collect them all through that, and then we collect them all throughout the day. So we're constantly collecting the eggs to make sure the houses we're running properly.
All right, so 7 to 11 in the morning, so the hens are really kind of early birds.
Yep.
If you want to look at it that way, they get up early and they get their work done. Well, a lot of these student questions have been about eggs and gathering eggs, and that leads nicely into our next segment, because feed isn't the only area where you've made improvements in your business to operate more sustainably.
That's right,
Yeah, you show us how you use some
technology throughout the processing plant as well.
Exactly. So let's see some of that new technology. Let's take a look.
America's egg farms produce 223 million eggs per day. On our family farm, we produce between 1.1 and 1.2 million eggs per day. Can you imagine the work that goes into getting those eggs from our farm to your family's table? Egg farms are unique in the fact that we are caring for a living creature. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of work. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. There are no sick days. There are no vacation days. Somebody has to always be in with our hens all day long to ensure that they are being well maintained and that they're comfortable. The sustainability of our farm depends on how well we take care of our hens on a daily basis. We use modern technology to provide for the optimal care of our hens. Ventilation is extremely important on all egg farms. We use ventilation to control the temperatures and the humidities within the chicken house and to pull fresh air in at all times. We need to maintain those temperatures so that the hen is comfortable at all times and that she feels that she can eat and drink. Lighting is important because depending on the breed of the chicken you've got, certain chickens need different types of lighting, and we use LED lighting to help with the sustainability of our farm. We use modern technology on our manure removal system. We have manure belts that on a daily basis the manure is removed, and we do that so that the manure is removed continually. It takes less energy to dry that manure. While it is in the house, we do blow air across it to start the drying process, and once it's removed, then it starts its own process in the manure storage building. In our processing facility, we utilize the latest technology in egg washing and egg grading. We have 2 wash units that the eggs flow through. We then put that out into our lagoon, and then weather permitting, we recycle that water and we irrigate it onto our crops. After the eggs are washed and graded, they are cartoned or put into filler flats for loose pack. Those cartons and filler flats are recyclable or biodegradable. And that way, when they get to the final end user, they're able to be collected and used in a responsible manner. So when our trucks are out on the road, we fill a whole load of eggs onto them. And then to save on fuel and to make the chain complete, we load that truck back up with something coming back, which is called a backhaul, so that our trucks are utilizing every mile that they're on the road. Our farm operations have greatly improved over the last 50 years, and we will continue to monitor the latest technologies. We continually strive to find the greatest advancements so that we can offer the public the safest, wholesome, most affordable food.
All right, and welcome back. Joining us now, we have 2 students here from Anthony Wayne. They're also current members of the FFA, and they're going to be helping us out with a little hands-on experiment later. So would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Andrew, and I'm in the 8th grade.
All right.
I'm Regan, and I'm a freshman.
All right, Regan and Andrew, thank you so much for joining us and helping us out today. Because like you said, Tom, managing a farm is a 24/7 job.
Right.
And it makes sense that a farm operation would be an area where you can really try and make cuts or find ways to reduce your footprint.
And we've got the students up here, and one of the ways we look at in our operation is our electric usage. And one way to reduce that is the lighting that we use and the systems that we do. And we are going to LED lights, and we've got some lights up here for the students to check them out.
Yeah, so we mentioned you also get ideas from other farmers.
Yeah, we communicate daily, weekly, all the time with farmers in the egg industry and also in agriculture in general, and we use state advisors to help us with our operations. We're open to any ideas all the time.
Yeah, I think it's really important to emphasize how important the collaboration is, because when another farmer learns something, they'll collaborate with us, and we do the same back to them. Really helps the whole industry, and we all benefit from each other.
It's a great collaborative attitude.
Yep.
Yeah, so before we did this virtual field trip, we set out an activity that classrooms could do to calculate their collective carbon footprint and try to find ways to reduce it with a little brainstorming. The first 25 classrooms that submitted their findings to us received resource packs in the mail, and now's the time to use those if you want to take them on out and kind of go along with us. As you can see, we've already got our lights on to give them a little time to warm up. So we want to do this hands-on activity here on our own. So these here are the string lights, and these are more like what was sent in the kit. We also have some standard lamps here. This is a light change between the incandescent and the LED bulbs that we want to talk about here. And those can be found in all kinds of different lights, so it's a change you can make at home. Do you guys know if you at your home or at your school, if you've been changing to LED light bulbs at all, or are you using incandescent?
I know we use LED for our Christmas lights,
Good.
and we use for some lamps, but not all of our lights
Not
in our
all of
house
them?
yet. Not yet.
Okay, yeah, well, it's a progress, you know.
Yeah, and for me, like half of them are, and half of them are still incandescent.
All right.
So.
So the main difference between incandescent and LED bulbs, incandescent bulbs are the kind that were invented or discovered by Thomas Edison. I'm sure we've all heard about his adventures with the light bulb, and they operate on the principle that if you get metal hot enough, it starts to glow. And the incandescent bulbs here and here are operating on that principle, but the LED bulbs are much more modern, they're newer, and they work by exciting individual atoms until they glow. So they're not heating up metal, they're just exciting the atoms, and that's here and here. So the difference being that when you put in the same amount of energy to each of the bulbs, an incandescent bulb is going to put off a lot more waste heat, and an LED bulb is going to use that electricity more efficiently and only put out light. So we're actually going to test with thermometers right now. We're going to see which type of bulb is putting off more heat. So Andrew, if you want to take a start off with that. And Regan, I know you mentioned your Christmas lights. That's an important one because a lot of times we get Christmas trees lighting on fire because the bulbs get too hot.
Yeah.
So if this proves true, that's definitely something to be aware of. It's a change you can make to be more energy efficient and safer. So Andrew, what are you getting there?
This one's about 91 degrees.
91, so that's for the incandescent. And what about for the LED bulbs? Trying to get a reading there.
And this one's about 70 degrees.
70 degrees, so the LED bulbs are about 20 degrees cooler. Now, Regan, can you check on these bigger lamp bulbs here?
Yeah.
And so these bulbs come in all shapes and sizes, so you can replace main lamps and Christmas lights or whatever kind of lights you have in your house. You can probably find new bulbs.
Yeah, this one's at about 90 degrees.
About 90 for the incandescent. What about LED?
78.
About 78. So again, really big difference there. Same amount of electricity going in, a lot less heat coming off as waste. And Regan, I don't know if you can feel how hot this bulb is. Even from here, it's too hot. But here, I
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
put my
definitely.
hand right on here. It's perfectly cool and comfortable, and so that makes it a lot safer, and it means it's a lot more efficient. So that is, you know, kind of what we were trying to show is that you save a lot of electricity when you switch to LED, and it's a lot more efficient and it's safer.
Right.
So you guys also have some questions for Tom and Jordan. Regan, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, I was wondering if you have any advice for students who are thinking about pursuing a career in agriculture.
That's a great question, and the advice I would give is the opportunities are really endless. You can do anything you want. We have people who work in sales, we have people who work in marketing, we have people who work with our hands daily. We have people in processing, people in shipping and receiving who drive the trucks, who load the trucks, so the opportunities are really endless. And we're always looking for young generations and young minds.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of things to do on a farm and fields you might not think of right away. Andrew, what's your question?
Have you seen any returns on the upgrades you've made to your farm?
Yeah, we're continually looking at the upgrades, and I would just say we're kind of like you in your house, Andrew. We are reducing the lights that we're using because we have to pay the electric bill just like your mom and dad do. So any reduction that we get in that helps our farm out tremendously.
All right. So thank you guys so much for being here and for
Thank
helping
you.
us out with our experiments here. And we're going to go on and we're going to take a look at 2 more ways you can farm more sustainably by using a 2-step water lagoon system and manure management.
Hi, I'm Jordan Hertzfeld, and I'm a 4th-generation egg farmer. On an egg farm, you have a lot of hens, and when you have a lot of hens, you have a lot of manure. And this is what we do with our manure. Our hen houses have an automated system that collects the manure and runs it out on a daily basis. Our automated system has a blow dryer that helps dry and reduce the odor. The dry manure is transferred to a storage barn where it is held until we can sell it to area farmers. This process is tightly regulated to ensure that the proper amount of manure is applied at the right time. Manure has value, and it's packed with nutrients that enrich the soil. Using manure in crop production is one of the best examples of recycling. This allows us to reduce our environmental footprint. We also recycle a lot of water, and water is very important to our environmental footprint. On Hertzfeld Poultry farms, we use 52,000 gallons of water every day. This water nourishes our hens, irrigates our crops, and allows us to wash and process our eggs. I'm standing next to our two-stage lagoon, which allows us to recycle our egg wash water. Careful manure management and water recycling help us get closer to our goal of using fewer natural resources. It's an ongoing process that keeps us learning and growing.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So Jordan has shared some insight with us about your two-step lagoon process. Can you expand on that a little? How does that work?
Well, our two-step lagoon process is, like I said earlier, our eggs are collected, and they're ran on belts, and those belts take the eggs to the processing plant. And what they do there is they're graded and washed. And we wash them with that wash water, drops down below and runs through drains. Those drains automatically run to our first lagoon.
Okay.
So once they're in our first lagoon, they'll naturally filter when ready to the second lagoon. And after that, we use them to irrigate our crops.
Okay, so you're using that same water twice.
Yep, we use it twice.
So is that industry-wide? Is that just on your farm?
The industry actually uses 32% less water
Oh.
on the crops.
Then, so as a result of using this egg wash water to fertilize or irrigate the land. So that's, I mean, a huge amount.
Yeah, and that 32% over the last 50 years of reduction.
That's amazing. So that's a great process. You can use the same resource twice and save a lot on resources. So we do have some more questions. Miss Lee McClurg's 7th grade class at Downing Middle School, Flower Mound, Texas, asked, how are waste products recycled on the farm?
Well, you know, what is a waste product for us is a good product for somebody else, like our manure. It's a waste product to our company, but with us being able to sell it and market it to other farmers, it's a bonus for them.
Right.
So it helps enhance their ground.
It's a question of perspective.
Right.
One man's trash is another
That's
man's
exactly
treasure,
right.
like they say. All right, so Our Lady of Mercy School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina asked, and this is probably a good question, you know, especially in light of Hurricane Matthew recently hitting the East Coast. They want to know, has there ever been a hurricane on your farm? And if there was, what did you do to protect your eggs and your hens?
Well, because of where we're geographically located, we don't have the risk of a hurricane. But we do have the risk of other natural disasters, so like a tornado is always a risk. But and if an incident like that ever happens, we have somebody always up in the farm with the hens, any employees, and we'll be there as well.
Yeah, and that's another reason you like to keep the hens in barns, so you can protect them when there is an external threat. So you just have to keep an eye on things and make sure you have the right protections in place.
Yeah, because with them in the buildings like that, it helps us keep control of everything going on within the environment.
So you know you can keep an eye on everything. So you also mentioned your manure, and you have the manure in holding barns until you sell it to local farmers. Are you able to use or sell it all, and what are people using it for?
Yeah, we're able to use all of it and sell it. We spread the manure on the ground when we can put it on the ground. We don't put any manure on the ground in the winter months when the ground is frozen to keep it from spreading around. So yeah, we're able to utilize all of our manure in a sensible way.
Yeah, and so you wait until the ground can accept the manure so it doesn't run off into the water, and that's another method of conservation, keeping the water clean and safe. So Mr. Crawford's class in Woodhull School in Tahlequah, Oklahoma asks, what kind of jobs are there on the farm?
Well, for me, I'm an operational manager, so I work in processing and production. But the jobs really endless, like I said earlier. You can work within shipping and receiving, you can work within sales, you can work with marketing, you can work with the hens in the houses. Animal welfare is very important to us, so those jobs are important. We need people who want to work in the houses and be with the hens and do all that stuff daily.
Yeah, you've mentioned nutritionists and veterinarians.
And I would add on top of that, we need, the industry is so food safety oriented now that we need food safety specialists. And then, like, if the government's in our job, so there's government jobs available within the egg industry.
Yeah, so you can really go in any direction, from any point of view, and you can find something to do on a farm. So based on everything you've shared with us today, we can definitely see you have to make a lot of decisions,
Right.
Big overarching decisions, real small decisions that you and other egg farmers have to make to keep your hens healthy,
Right.
to keep the farm operating efficiently and in environmentally responsible way, and of course also making a profit so you can continue to run the farm. And so you want to make sure you're making those best decisions.
Right. And it's a juggling act from day to day, but overall, it's we've got a good handle on everything that happens. There's times we get thrown a curveball and we just adjust with it and move forward. And overall, it's a great industry to be in.
Yeah, you just got to be ready for whenever things get thrown at you and figure out how to move forward from there. Well, we also have an opportunity. We have a sustainability challenge on educationstation.discoveryeducation.com, where you can kind of get into Tom and Jordan's shoes and play as a farmer, and you want to try and make everyday choices to make your farm operate sustainably. So you can choose your farmer, and you get asked some questions about situations you might run into on your farm. You choose how you would handle them, and you get to find out if those would be the most environmentally sustainable choices that you can make. And as you go through, you're going to find out what your environmental footprint is. So I definitely encourage you all to give that a try after the broadcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. You get to see what it's a little bit like to be Tom or Jordan running an egg farm. So we do have some more questions. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, great. So Mrs. West and Mrs. Lick's class from Ferguson, North Carolina asks, what do you do with the broken eggs?
That's a good question, but we actually take all of our broken eggs, collect them, and send them to a biodigester, which takes those eggs and makes energy out of them.
So you take the broken eggs, which obviously you can't sell as eggs, and you use them and you turn them into energy.
Yep.
Correct.
That's amazing. That's so cool that we can take something that would be garbage and turn it to something we really, really need.
Right.
So we also have a question from Miss Harris's class in Adelphi, Maryland, and they ask, how much gas do your trucks use in one day?
That varies on day to day, depending on where our trucks go. So, but what we do is make sure that our trucks are fully loaded wherever they go, and that's 24,000 dozen eggs on a trailer load of eggs. And we make sure that we route our trucks, that the deliveries are in line with each other if it's not a direct route. And then on the return trip home, we use what we call a backhaul, and we get something either for our farm that we bring back to our farm, or we'll haul something back for somebody else in the area to try to utilize the miles that our trucks are on the road.
Yeah, so it's like the student suggested that we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast. Make sure your school bus is full when it's driving, or carpooling, that same kind of idea. If a vehicle is going to be on the road, try and make sure it's doing it as productively as possible if it has to be using that gas. Well, that is going to wrap it up for today, you guys. A big, big thank you to Tom and Jordan Hertzfeld.
Thank
you guys so much for being here back at your alma mater for a
yeah,
visit with
it's great
us.
coming home.
We wanted to thank you for sharing your farm with us, letting us take a peek into what you do, and tell us about how you're reducing your environmental footprint. And we want to thank all of you for joining us today. Remind you to check out educationstation.discoveryeducation.com. It's down there at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you check it out. We want to thank you again for coming along with us today, and have a great day.